Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Focus. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an outstanding person with us today. She is a person that you should know. Deborah D Lewis. She has a master's in human resource development and licensed practical nurse. She's a professional speaker, facilitator, and training and development specialist, and the list goes on and on. By the way, she's a United States Navy veteran retired. She has a BS in Business Administration, Columbia College of Missouri, a dual master's in Human Resource Development and Leadership from Webster University. And like I mentioned before, in addition to that, she's a licensed practical nurse. Good morning, Miss Lewis.
Good morning, Dr. Brooks.
Lake County is approximately 750,000 people, but I don't know how many up at 5 o'clock this Sunday morning listening to the program, but I understand there's a pretty good audience.
Yes.
I had a mayor one time, a former mayor, said that he's shaving in the morning, getting ready for Sunday school, and listening to the program.
Well, that's perfect.
So we have quite an audience this Sunday morning. But I want you, and I'm going to be learning right along with my listening audience. Tell our listening audience a little bit about your personal and professional background.
Okay. Where do I begin? I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Oh. I arrived here in the Lake County area in 2006. Okay. I retired from the United States Navy in 2010, but I came this way as a transplant to the area because of the Navy. Okay. I was stationed at Recruit Training Command, where I served as a recruit division commander, which is basically the Navy's equivalent to a drill sergeant.
Okay.
From there, I went on to the Naval Hospital before we closed it down and merged with the Captain James A. Lovell Federal Health Care Center in 2010. But I stayed here after retirement, and I made this my home. I found a church, I found a good group of people, and here I am. And I don't plan on going anywhere for a while.
Fantastic. Well, Lake County is very fortunate to have you in this area. But tell us, what piqued your interest in Navy as a career?
Well, I think I haphazardly fell upon the Navy. I had graduated in 1990 from high school. I was raised by my grandmother, and I knew I had to have options after high school. But I knew I was not serious enough for college. Mm-hmm. I knew my grandmother would have sent me, but I would have wasted her money. All I saw for college was a party, and I could not do that to my family. So I needed to leave Cleveland, and I needed to figure out a way to do that. So there was the Armed Services. I went into the recruiting office, saw the Navy recruiter, and the rest is history. I was offered a hospital corpsman billet, which is basically a medic, and I always loved nursing, had a passion for it, so it was the quickest way for me to get out of Cleveland, and off to Orlando, Florida is where I went.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're talking with Miss Deborah D. Lewis, professional speaker, facilitator, training and development specialist, and like I say, the list goes on and on. But Miss Lewis, what piqued your interest in public speaking as a career?
I tell people all the time, and a lot of people who will meet me or come to any workshop I may facilitate, they always ask me about stage fright and are you nervous? Mm-hmm. Every time I speak in front of someone, I'm nervous. Mm-hmm. The reason I was driven and moved into public speaking and facilitating is for that very reason, that fear. To me, in order to overcome a fear, you must attack it every day. Mm-hmm. So I force myself to facilitate workshops and do public speaking so I can get over that fear.
Mm-hmm. What guidance would you give the people to stop waiting for change and create the change yourself?
I think the biggest thing is owning your own mess. I like to say that a lot to people. Okay. You have to realize what inadequacies that you have in yourself, and then you have to figure out a way to work on those things. Right now in Lake County, I'm proud to say that I am part of a nonprofit mentoring group in the area. It's called Dove's Mentoring. And one thing that we tell the youth that we work with is they cannot be what they don't see. So in order to impact a change in your community, in your circle, you have to be that change. So you have to come up with a way to reinvent yourself daily, to make yourself applicable, to make yourself valuable, and to make yourself needed. And in order to affect somebody else's life, you must first kind of evaluate your own life and change it.
I used to tell high school students, in ourselves, our future lies.
Exactly.
You agree with that?
Yes, most definitely, most definitely. And you don't know what you can impart to the youth of today until you open yourselves to them. They're very relatable. A lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about the youth that we deal with, but they're highly intelligent, highly functioning. They just need direction and they need help.
You have been very active, you mentioned, in the Navy at Great Lakes. What impact have you had on management decisions in your position?
Well, I've been fortunate enough that in the United States Navy, everyone plays a part in how we function on day-to-day operations. So it doesn't matter if you're from an E1 at the entry level all the way to the commanding officer. It's everyone's responsibility. And I think the biggest thing that the Navy has afforded me is the team concept. Everyone is responsible. Everyone is responsible for the day-to-day operation and the part that you play in us serving in the greatest Navy that there is. And that has impacted me in my professional and personal life after retirement. I still function in a team concept, and it's very important because you cannot do anything alone, especially when you're working in the community.
Have you experienced glass ceiling, or have you cracked that glass ceiling doing your achievement?
I think in any organization you go in, there's that unknown glass ceiling, but if you go into any environment confidently, and if your skill set is strong and you work on having a good work ethic, you'll be able to crack any ceiling that comes against you. My biggest thing is I've always worked under the adage that my work speaks for itself.
Okay.
I don't have to ask anyone permission to go higher or to do anything. Basically, what I need to do is work hard, and my work ethic will speak for itself. And that will get me into doors that may be closed to other people.
Tell us about the leadership positions that you have had within the Navy.
Well, I started out in Navy medicine. So in the ranking, as you go up in rank, you start out as middle management, and you can go into upper management. It just depends on the different arenas that you worked in. Yeah. But I went from being responsible for 2 people to being responsible for 15 people. Basically, the way that you work with 2 is no different than working with 15. As long as you approach people on a basic level and you treat them with respect and you treat them as part of the team, they will take care of you. And again, that has helped me transcend into the civilian sector, as you say. So I went from Navy to retirement to now as a government employee. And it's all the same. It's about how you treat people. And it's a people business.
Well, tell us about being accepted as a female over males, being in charge of males.
Well, as a recruit division commander, I was responsible for male divisions or male recruits. And I find that regardless if it's female or male, as long as you are giving them information that is needed, that is valuable at that time, and then you speak to them and not speak at them, people will receive what you have. Now, male divisions, of course, is always that first introduction to a male division where they kind of look at you as the weaker. But as long as you establish that dominance, they take to it and they respect you for it. As long as you let people know where you stand and what you stand for, you won't fall for anything. And I think I was able to impart that to the people I was responsible for.
And you were responsible for, be in charge of programs for, we could say, the Navy recruit graduations and the other that you were responsible for, making arrangements.
Yes.
For people to be comfortable when they come.
Yes. Currently, right now, I serve as an event coordinator at Recruit Training Command. We're responsible for the weekly graduation of the recruits. This is the only Navy boot camp left in the United States. So we have approximately at least 3,000 guests that come to our graduation each Friday. So our office is responsible for ensuring that the guests arrive and that the graduation gets underway. We usually have close to 1,000 recruits graduating every week.
Wow.
We hold 48 graduations per year, so there's only 4 times throughout the week that we are not at the ready for graduation. And that gives us some time to retool, relax, and get ready. But this is one of the best jobs that I've had because you get to see the impact that the United States Navy is having, not just on the recruits that's graduating, but on their family. Because again, this is a family. When you enter into the Navy, it's just not with the shipmates you serve with. It's for everyone.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the Great Lakes has been the only recruit station in the world, I guess. But all recruits, men or female, have to go through the Great Lakes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I guess San Diego was one, and there was one in Florida.
There was one in San Diego and in Florida. So we've closed all of those, and we chose. I don't know how they chose Great Lakes.
The beautiful climate, but it's not the climate.
It's not the climate.
It's the cost effectiveness, I guess.
Cost effectiveness, and I think the history of Great Lakes. Great Lakes, the Naval Training Command, is rich in naval history. So we're better to place. The only boot camp left is here in the Great Lakes region.
You mentioned Great Lakes been historical, but as far as African-American history, I guess it's historical.
It's historical as well. Actually, on the Recruit Training Command campus, we actually have the building that we dedicated to the Golden 13.
Tell us about the Golden 13.
Yes, the 13 African-American commissioned officers. So we actually have a building dedicated. That's where the in processing is. So when the recruits arrive from the bus from MEPS and they come from the airport and they step off that bus into the Navy environment, they actually step into the Golden 13 building.
Wow.
So it's right in their face as soon as they arrive, how historical and how important inclusion is for the Navy.
It's my understanding that in surrounding area, probably some people at Great Lakes even don't know, there were African Americans that took the test, I think under Truman administration, I believe, and they made the highest scores of any scores in the Navy.
Yes.
And the administration didn't believe that, so they retested them, and they made even higher scores.
Yes.
And so that's a little background there. Of course, you got Dory Miller.
Yes.
There's a statue, plaque that's he came from the bottom of the ship and shot several Japanese planes down there.
A lot of history.
And they got barracks named after him, and Robert Small, I guess, and
Yes.
so many others. But how many Navy people even know about
Exactly. Yeah.
African-American history?
And that's why it's so important to immerse yourself in the community so you can find out all that history that people overlook every day.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Tell us about you. You're a licensed practical nurse, too, in addition to your public speaking. How did you...
Well, when I first joined the Navy, I was entered into the hospital corpsman rate, which is the medical field. And my initial plans when I first joined the Navy, I was just going to do 4 years, get some money for college, and get out. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what happens with plans. Things change, and then sometimes they don't become your own. So in order to try and figure out what I was going to do when I grow up, I got my nursing license while I was in the Navy. The Navy afforded me the tools to be able to get the education, the college money to be able to pay for it. But
amazing.
Once I got my nursing license, I kind of looked around and started looking at the economy, and I thought I was doing better in the Navy than I would out in the civilian sector. So I said, I'll stay for 4 more years.
Okay.
And then once you get to 8 and 10 years in the military, you may as well stay. So that's exactly what I did. Exactly. I still keep my nursing skills current. I always keep it in my tool belt. I believe once you learn something, you shouldn't give up on it. So you should continue in that learning process. And currently right now, I serve as the church nurse for my church, Jesus Name Apostolic Church.
Oh, yes, I know it very well.
Yes. So that just...
Pastor
Caples. Yes, Pastor Caples. Jesus Name Apostolic Church, one of the best churches in town.
Yes.
That's our motto. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, he's been on my program several times.
Yes.
Outstanding person, And speaking of church, too, you mentioned about tell us a bit more about your family background. I want to let people know that you just don't give up.
Absolutely. I come from a strong stock of women, so giving up is not an option in our family. I used to always joke my grandmother actually had 13 children,
Wow.
3 sets of twins, and we used to always joke because she babied and favored the boys, but the women by 8 and 10, we were washing clothes and cooking meals, and she really taught me self-sufficiency. She taught me that you need people, but you don't need them in order to survive. You need to be able to function on your own. You need to be functional to society. You need to be able to give back and do what you need to do. So giving up was never an option for me. The biggest thing that I learned is you have to have different plans. You have to be able to have a backup plan. And then you need a backup for that backup plan. But you need to be self-resilient, and you need to know how to bounce back. And the biggest thing she taught me was being able to pray for myself. When you get yourself in something, sometimes you may call your friends and your family, and they're not there. You got to figure out how to get yourself out of some trouble yourself. And the biggest thing I learned is the power of prayer.
Fantastic.
So that's the biggest thing that she imparted in my life.
You know, I was an only child. And I remember mother leading me to Sunday school. That's how I got started too. So church was a priority in my life, and I'm still,
Yes.
active.
Yes,
in,
indeed.
Children that they're active in church even now. So I know that I get jealous sometimes seeing large families, but they don't do as well.
Well, it's funny that you say that. I come from such a large family, but for myself, I had one child. I was able to see that large family and knew I didn't need to repeat that cycle.
Right.
One was enough for me.
Right. Tell us about, I think, you mentioned you're in the health field. Health disparities among minorities. Do you feel there's health disparities?
There's a large health disparity, and I think the biggest issue right now is access to care.
Okay.
Access to care from the spectrum that we need to make health care more inviting for people to seek it. But also the problem in our community, we as a community, we need to speak up on the fact that we need to be more proactive and reactive with our health care. Okay. There's a lot of preventative measures, and that I found here in Lake County, and all of the work that I've done where I've visited the Lake County Health Department and got on different forums, the fact that we don't engage ourselves in preventative medicine is the real reason we are in the shape that we are in. So I think it's a responsibility on both ends, the healthcare system to be able to make the healthcare more accessible, but also for the community and for ourselves to actually go out and get it. I've found that in Lake County, there's so many different services offered, and I've gone to different health fairs and different initiatives, and you look out in the crowd and there's only 3 or 4 people there. We have to do better.
Amazing.
We have a responsibility, and we can't wait until the breast cancer is stage 4 to want to get it treated. You can't wait till the cold has turned into pneumonia that has turned into a lung infection. You have to be more proactive, and we have to do better in educating ourselves and using the resources that's out there.
Programs like this, Community Focus, Community Forum, is another way of getting the word out to impress among people how important it is.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because we don't get excited until it, like you say, stage 4 when it happens to us.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Importance of networking. How important is networking?
Oh, my friends joke all the time. I think I'm the power network. I always am ready. I have I call a toolkit in my car. I travel with business cards and resumes, and I always have a 30-second elevator speech for whatever I'm working on, because you never know who that connection is or where that connection may lead you. And I've gotten to the point in networking, it may not necessarily benefit me, but it may benefit someone else. I'm a proponent for networking for other people. If I know you provide a service, or I know you have a skill set, and I meet someone that requires that, I'm going to network for you. And that's what we should do in the community. It's not about glorifying what I'm doing. It's about making sure the community is represented. We should not have anyone from outside of Lake County to provide services in Lake County when we have a wealth of people here with skill sets and skills that could be used on a daily basis. So I think networking is very important, not just in professional arenas, for personal arenas, because I believe, each one will teach one. And if I have something, it's my responsibility to share it.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're talking with Deborah Lewis, professional speaker, as you can tell, very eloquent.
Thank you.
Facilitator and training and development specialist. And I guess we met on one occasion, I think at City Hall in North Chicago. And looking at you then, I say, boy, this is a person that Lake County should know. And Lake County, as I mentioned, is a potentially 750,000 people.
Wow.
But I don't know how, like I say, how many up at 5 o'clock this Sunday morning listening, but they are missing a treat. And Deborah, we communicated through email more than we have personally.
Yes.
And I knew, I found out I was correct that Lake County should know who you are.
Thank you very much.
And I'm learning about you right along with my my audience this morning. What is your ultimate goal as a career? You mentioned the Navy, and you mentioned networking and speaking engagements, and now you even with the City Hall.
Yes, I have just been appointed to the Board of Fire and Police Commission for the City of North Chicago on August 1st, so I'm currently serving as the chairman of that board, and I'm just ecstatic.
So they recognize your talent right away because they made you chairman right away.
Yes, they did. Either that or they just get themselves in trouble. We haven't figured it out just yet. But I'm just excited about the possibilities. I'm excited about being responsible in my community.
Yes.
And I believe in just jumping in and doing work. Like I said before, when you have a skill set or you have a talent, you can't sit on it. You can't waste it. So you asked me, what do I want to do after this? To me, there is no after this. There's always continual growth. I'm always trying to figure out, what do I want to do with myself? What do I want to be when I grow up? And it all boils down to service. I truly believe in being a servant. I believe in serving people. I believe in serving causes. So I'm always ready for good work and for the good fight. And I believe as long as the Lord continues to bless me and order my steps, I will do exactly what he has destined for me to do. And that is to serve his people.
This is fantastic. So actually, are you active in church also?
Yes.
I cannot see you being a bench warmer.
Oh, no. Like I said before, I am one of the church nurses at Jesus Name Apostolic Church. I serve on the ladies department, and I also serve on our healthcare team. So it's a health and fitness, and like I said, we're trying to get our community healthy, and it starts in our own small circles. So if we can impart a change at Jesus' name, that will spill into the community, and so on and so forth. I don't believe in sitting idle. I believe, you have to get busy. You have to use what you have.
Well, you selected the right church then, because you're Pastor Caples.
Yes.
Is that John Caples?
Yes, John I. Caples.
Yeah, and he's very active. And
he's dynamic. He's dynamic. And our pastor, he motivates us to be better. Because how can I sit on a sideline and not work and not be involved when I see him working as hard as he does? And when you said I did not select Jesus' name. Oh, I found Jesus' name, and they found me. So that's why I know I'm in the ideal situation, because I didn't go out looking for that church. That church found me. Right. And when they found me, it was like going home.
That's amazing, of all the churches in the area.
Yes. I visited for 6 months, and I was hooked. As a matter of fact, I joined Jesus' Name on my birthday. Oh. What better way to celebrate your life than to find your family in church?
They have a special program, too. There's another building that they have a special program.
Family First Center.
Family First Center,
yes. Doing great work in the community. Dr. Evelyn Chenier is the executive director of the Family First Center, and Jesus' Name is just growing. And I believe that downtown Waukegan would not be the same without it.
This is fantastic. you gave me your I guess your personal and professional goal. It's probably the same. In other words, you're still searching. You're
Yes,
still reaching out.
always, never stop. Always looking for the next opportunity to learn.
Then the your residence has been in what, North Chicago?
North Chicago, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And North Chicago will never be the same either now. So.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope I'm here to shake some things up and, see what we can do.
Right. For the people that use an excuse about a glass ceiling that they can't go, you're a perfect example of how that glass ceiling is broken.
Yes.
Not exist. Because of you have to be persistent, and people recognize your good work too.
Thank you very much. I sure hope they do. My work should speak for itself, and I hope that it's speaking positively.
Right. Well, you mentioned your ultimate goal. Actually, you don't have the sky's the limit, I guess, right?
Sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. I just want to be able to give back to the communities that I serve. Our biggest thing right now, like I said, with our Doves mentoring group, is the youth. Okay. I have to be able to leave this world better than I found it. And the only way to do that is to make sure we impact a change with the youth that we serve. And it is a service. I am responsible to those children. And I would be remiss if I sat here with something to share and I didn't share it.
What do you see in North Chicago programs for youth?
Well, that's the issue. There was not a lot of programming. And what we've done uniquely in the Doves mentoring is we don't compete with any existing organization. Right now, we partner with the Boys and Girls Club of Lake County, where we go in monthly and conduct mentoring sessions. But the biggest thing that we've done is we like to partner. We don't compete with anyone. We want to complement.
Yes.
So if there's a need for a program and someone needs some help getting something started, that's where we come in. We have the personnel that can come in and deliver mentoring topics and different events, but we want to find that niche. So we want North Chicago and Zion and Waukegan to rally together, come up with a proposal, and allow us to come in and help. But right now, there is not enough mentoring in the Lake County area. And it's not that it's not the need there. We just not have found the people who are dedicated enough to deliver it.
Well, the opportunity is great with your neighbors. You have the Chicago Medical School there, and you have the James A. Lovell Medical Healthcare Center. It's called, and I'm sure that they partner even with the high school.
Yes, we actually work with Rosalind Franklin University. They come out with the care coach.
Sorry. Great. I said Chicago Medical School, but it's Rosalind Franklin.
Rosalind Franklin, yes. They come out and they support all of the efforts. Again, it goes back to the health piece. We cannot be productive adults in a productive society if we're not healthy. So I think they all correlate and go hand in hand. So that's the key, is putting together enough networking. Again, there's that word. Networks of organizations that can come in and do what we need to do for the community.
Well, Deborah, I want to thank you very much. Our time has escaped us here. And for those that want to see you in person, we have a community forum, Comcast television program set up. As a matter of fact, this Thursday.
Yes,
so we're really putting you to work here.
I love it. I love it.
And I was thinking about having a co-host, but I think I don't need that. I'm going to give you the opportunity.
Well, thank you very much.
So that the community can see you at they can see why you're a professional speaker, facilitator, training specialist, and you do it all.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Deborah Lewis, professional speaker, facilitator, training and development specialist, and a U.S. Navy veteran retired.
Yes, sir.
Especially stayed in this area to make a difference in this, well, I should say North Chicago, but this community and this county.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to another awareness session on community focus. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr.